Hello, we are live with leadership with the Pan-African Network, PAN, discussing how leaders of the entity have actualized the network's convention year theme of recalibrate through the planning and delivery of personal and professional initiatives. My name is Angela Hoffman Cooper, and I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I'm the Director of Professional Development in the International Office with ACPA, College Student Educators International. It's great to have you here today. We'd like to begin with our ACPA land acknowledgement. ACPA, College Student Educators International, is the leading comprehensive student affairs association that advances higher education and engages students for a lifetime of learning and discovery. Although serving an international audience, our membership is primarily from the United States, and our offices are headquartered in Washington, D.C., at the National Center for Higher Education. Related to our mission of supporting and fostering learning through the generation and sharing of knowledge, ACPA acknowledges the painful history of genocide in the United States for Native, Aboriginal, and Indigenous peoples. We honor and respect the many and diverse tribal nations and peoples who were forcefully removed from, as well as those still connected to, this land. We particularly acknowledge and recognize that the land upon which our international headquarters is located today has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst a number of Indigenous people, including the Akahonik, Pocomoke, Piscataway, Anacostank, Mattapenient, Nangamuk, Pamunkey, Towahent, Nanticoke, Chickahominy, Monacan, Mattapanai, Nansemond, Rappahannock, Anistohini Unami, and Assateague tribal nations as the original occupants of the Washington, D.C. region. ACPA strongly advocates for higher education and student affairs professionals to honor the land, the original tribal occupants, and the history of the place where you are located. Further, we have a responsibility to continually self-educate, reflect, and listen to the histories and people in our areas. Including tribal land acknowledgements in practice and understanding and acknowledging history is not only respectful and educational, it is the justice-oriented advocacy necessary for continuing the work of dismantling the devastating effects of settler colonialism in our society. Again, we are really excited to have you here with us today. We do want to share that this session is being recorded, and we have captioning live streaming, and captioning will also be embedded within 24 hours as a video on our Facebook page. If you have questions, we do ask that you make a comment on this post, and we'll address those either as we go or at the end. Thanks again for joining, and now I'd like to turn it over to leaders of PAN, Stephen Johnson Jr., Crystal Andrews, and Simone Francis, and Taylor to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Andrews. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the co-chair for volunteer engagement, and I am a third-year doctoral student at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
Hi, everyone. I'm Simone Francis. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Assistant Director for Diversity, Inclusion, and Student Engagement at Berklee College of Music and Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. I serve as one of the research and scholarship co-chairs from PAN.
Hello, everyone. I am Taylor Smith, she, they pronouns. I serve as one of the co-chairs for community outreach and civic engagement within PAN. I am at the George Washington University School of Medicine Health Sciences, where I serve as a diversity officer within our Office of Diversity and Inclusion.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Johnson Jr. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I serve as the chair for the Pan-African Network. On my campus at the University of Kansas, I serve as the director for diversity, equity, and inclusion for student programs in our KU School of Business. To start our time today, I thought it was important to share a little bit about PAN and our theme this year of Recalibrate. The mission of the Pan-African Network is to provide programs and resources that service the needs of ACPA members who identify with and support causes of the Pan-African community. PAN strives to accomplish its purpose through the implementation of 6 core values. educational leadership, collaboration, fellowship, advocacy, professional development, and mentoring. The theme of this year's network experience is recalibrate. By dictionary definition, recalibrate describes the act of correcting or adjusting the graduations of something that measures in comparison to a certain standard. In thinking about recalibration in the context of PAN, I've encouraged us to evaluate our work, ensuring that we are honoring the history of our network, working in congruence with our mission and values, and evolving to meet the ever-changing needs of our membership. With this, I have invited 3 of my colleagues to share more about how they are actualizing this theme in their personal and professional context. And so I'll start with asking our first question. Considering your personal or professional context, what is one way that you have embodied this theme of recalibration?
So I'll start us off. When I think about our theme of recalibration, I think a lot of times of resting and pause. And so for me, this time, personally and professionally, has been in the space of pausing. When I think about the work in student affairs and in higher ed, we are constantly on the go. And because of the times that we are in, especially with COVID-19 and just a lot of things that are impacting us professionally and personally in our lives, many of us have been forced to pause, and some of us have chosen to pause. And in many ways, I have been a mix of both. And I think for me, when I think about recalibrating, allowing myself to pause and to think about where I'm going and why am I going there. And I think that's very big in what we're doing in PAN as we talk about recalibration for ourselves personally and professionally. Where are we going? Why are we going there? And actually, why have we been on this journey? So those have been questions that I have been doing with myself in reflection and with pause as I think about one of the things that I've been doing in that space and how I've been embodying that. So I've been very intentional about setting time for me to reflect throughout the week, for me to decompress, and for me to have those moments to be human, because a lot is going on. And so for me, embodying that intentional pause and intentional reflection has been a lot of what I've been doing.
And very much to follow up to that, I think, the pause piece is really important, and it plays into how I've been recalibrating as well. I think personally and professionally, I've been really trying to embrace reconnecting with the earth and thinking about, I work outside every single day as much as I can. From I wake up, I go outside and I'm there until it gets dark and I can't see anymore. And that's just been a space for me to ensure that I feel as though I'm not just putting all my time into other humans, all my time into only myself, but I'm also putting it into the earth and what's around me and understanding my surroundings and how that very much shapes who I am. And then I also think embracing creative practices. And so those things go really hand in hand for me, because I think they allow us to look to our ancestors and look at, in terms of the practices that have past generations, they've been passed down. The earth is one of those things. Our ancestors were really connected to the earth. And then creative practices in terms of like oral traditions, different ways of using performance and things like that. And so embracing those two modalities in terms of being outside, being connected, and then also looking for creative ways to do the work that I do has allowed me to reshape, I think, my own identity as I show up in the workplace, as I show up in my, social spaces, and allowing myself to do that pause, but to do it in a way that resonates with who I am and connects me back to the people who have contributed to what I've become today.
Thank you all for that. Within the context of PAN, what do you hope to contribute to the membership this convention year?
I can start us off for this one. This year, I think we are very similar to what I just mentioned. Even when we started, like right after moving into the next convention year, at the tail end of the last one and the beginning of this one, we were trying to figure out how do we ensure that we're doing programming that resonates with our members, right? And so for my committee, we have the webinar series that we do, the Pan Scholar webinar series. It happens in the spring. And we just weren't feeling it. We were like, how are folks going to be in a space to be listening to scholars talk about, research and really traditional things when in a moment right now where there's a lot going on and folks need community. And so we were able to transform, that webinar series into a space that was just community chats. And we were coming together to talk about things that were relevant based on what was going on. So thinking about, self-care, thinking about recalibration in relation to who you are personally and professionally. And so being able to do that, I think is going to be really important throughout the year and allowing for folks to feel more connected to PAN. I think once you join the directorate board, you feel real connected. Like we're really tight, we work together a lot, but that can be challenging for folks who are not on the board, right? And so particularly during this time, we should be and hope to be providing better space for folks to connect with us and feel as part of the PAN family, particularly Black individuals within ACCA, but then also allowing folks who are not identifying as Black to learn more about us, right? To understand the resources that we can provide, the voices that we have and how that contributes to the association. Those are things that can really come through this year as we have more time to pause and really reconsider what are we doing within the association and in our own individual spaces.
Yeah, and to add to what Simone just said, for me, as one of the co-chairs for volunteer engagement, we are a brand new committee. We're going into year 2 with our main motivation of providing a space to where we are opening the door for our membership to get a glimpse into what it means to be a part of PAN, what it could possibly mean to be a board member, a directorate board member, but it being not a heavy lift, but a low lift, something that is less risky and less time intensive. So really what we would like to do is to infuse programming that gives time and space for engagement, to where our membership and our volunteers and everyone who's involved, that they were able to feel our intent and our intentionality behind the programs that we're planning, to show you all, our members and association at large, how nimble we're able to be, how flexible we are in the way that we move with the trend and with the ways that we're able to not only to support our members, but the directorate at a large.
Thank you all. Another question that I have for the panelists is, what's one piece of advice that you can offer to our members as we're all learning to adapt to our changing environments?
And I'll start us off for this one. What I will say is that in this time of pause and reflection and connecting or reconnecting to our creative selves and connecting to our work, going into really this fall semester with the way that higher ed is ever changing in the moment, in the minute, and having to constantly be able to adapt, is that we be patient with ourselves, that we be patient and find our way through these situations, because it is a very challenging time right now. We don't know if if your campus is reopening or if it's not, or how you're supposed to provide for your students. But one thing that is clear is that we have to take care of ourselves in these moments, and choosing to put ourselves first, our own mental health, our physical health, us being able to be knowledgeable and mindful of how we're engaging in spaces, and when we need to kind of take a break, because we cannot do what we've been charged to do in our jobs and in our personal lives if we're not taking care of our mental, physical, and emotional health first.
I'll just add on to what Crystal said, using that extending grace to ourselves and being patient, that I will even add into that also requires us to think of our communities and the folks that we have supporting us. Something my mother told me earlier in the weekend was, as I was talking to her about things that I was fearful about, she told me that, Taylor, it's okay for you to fear into love. And so when I think about fearing into love, for me, that shows up in fearing into community, So when I am scared, when I think I'm dropping the ball, or if I need to talk things through because I have a lot going through my mind, who in my community can I show up in that space for? And I think that's very important, as Crystal said, when we move into the fall season, and as we are working, as students are coming back, as staff may be coming back, or we aren't coming back in your respective places, what does that community look like that you can fear into love to support you as your whole self? And so I would say to think about ways in which that you can build and build upon the communities you already have, and have the conversations about how are we fearing into love with each other.
Thank you each for your responses. Thank you for your thoughtful reflections. And I also want to publicly thank you for your service to the Pan-African Network and to ACPA at large. I think that, of course, there are others that are not on the panelists, and so far, 17 other director board members, thank you for the ways that you engage and add to this experience as well, and for the ways that you've adopted this theme. None of us could have imagined that 2020 would look this way, but we have all sort of taken it in stride and have learned to be flexible, as Crystal talked about, in keeping with the trend, in identifying trends, and trying our best to think about, the folks that we feel we have responsibility for, both within the association and in our personal professional lives, and to make those necessary changes so that we can meet folks where they are and be able to support them in the best way possible. I think if there are ways for those who are watching or who may watch later that we can continue to support you all, please let us know. And we would be happy to, connect and respond. And we look forward to remaining in connection with the membership throughout the rest of the convention planning year and at convention.
Thank you so much, Stephen, Crystal, Simone, and Taylor. We did chat in a link to the Pan-African Network ACPA page on the website so that folks can have contact information and a way to continue the conversation and continue to connect with you. I think, as each of you highlighted, connection is such an important piece, especially during this time, but truly all of the time, and is also such an important part of ACPA membership. So for folks that are watching, maybe aren't connected with an entity group yet, strongly encourage you to check out our great entity groups and all of the community that you're talking about, the community and the love and the care that is happening within those communities, and also the great professional development opportunities that come out of the entity groups. So thank you so much for all of your contributions and all of your leadership. I also want to do a thank you to those of you that are watching us and joining us live, and also those that might be reviewing the recording later. So thanks for checking this out, learning more about this year's theme, Recalibrate, with the Pan-African Network. And I hope that you'll get connected with them more soon if you're not already, and certainly participate in the Recalibrate theme over the coming years. Again, the session is recorded and we do have captions available. So for those of you that want to go back and watch this information later, we invite you to do so. We also invite you to join for our upcoming ACPA professional development events, including our ACPA 21 annual convention, a great time to get connected, attend programs that are sponsored by the Pan-African Network and other entity groups, a great time to connect and be in community. However that may look this year, we know that there will be an ACPA 21 experience, and we are excited about it. And then we do also have our ACPA to Go webinar series. Oftentimes the content for those webinars is also curated by the entity groups and entity leaders. So I encourage you to check out those opportunities, and I can certainly chat those in the comments so folks can have direct links to those things. Again, wishing you all the best as we continue to navigate this time together, and thank you again.